Can I have your attention, please? Calling all new moms, seasoned moms, soon-to-be moms, and all you mamas in between.
Welcome to the Mom Friends Podcast. I am your host, Rach, and I am so happy to have you here. I hope this podcast gives you conversations that help you to not feel so alone. Because even though it seems like we're surrounded by bodies 24/7, motherhood can still feel really lonely at times. And how are we supposed to know all this stuff? Join us for conversations where we keep it real, keep it honest, and maybe even get a little controversial. There's only one little catch. This is a safe space and there is no room for judgment or mom shaming. So let's all be kind, keep an open mind, and enjoy ourselves. Let's get into it. Hi, Peaches. Welcome back to Mom Friends. Thank you so much for coming. Today, we are pretty much talking to anybody who has ever felt judged or anything for taking a different approach to momming. And today to help me is Emma Rock. She's a mother rock star and backyard salad guru. So welcome to Mom Friends, Emma.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course. Usually just to start, I just ask who makes you a mom. Tell us how many kids you have, their ages, names if you're comfortable sharing them, and we'll get going.
Sure, yeah. I have 2 kids. My son, Jedediah, is going to be 4 next month, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And my daughter, Farah, is 1.5, and we're having our 3rd baby in July.
Oh my God. 3!
Yeah.
Pregnant. And how old are you again?
26.
26, going on our 3rd child. How do you feel about that? How are you feeling?
Well, I feel good about it.
Yeah.
I'd rather just get it over with when I'm young, because the 3rd time around, my body definitely is feeling it, and I just can't imagine doing it when I'm 35 and there's other things going on already too.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Yeah, I'm this is fine.
And when feeling it, what do you mean? You just it's
my
just
hips are sore,
okay.
My joints are sore. Yesterday,
your body's I've been through this twice already.
Yeah, exactly. Yesterday I was changing my daughter's diaper, and then I went to get up off the floor, and I was oh, this is getting a lot more difficult than it used to be.
Do they sooner in your pregnancy than the last couple times?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. What do you think your biggest adjustment's going to be going from 2 to 3?
Well, going from 1 to 2, it was an adjustment, where to direct your time and energy and
right.
the attention.
Yeah.
So it's going to be another experience of learning how to balance that. But I'm less worried about it because I feel like I've done it before.
Right.
So I'm not as anxious or nervous about that part. I feel like it's going to be okay. I'm not too worried. Maybe
Good.
maybe people who have 3 or 4 kids are oh, you have no idea what's going to happen. But, well, my daughter was really colicky and just a hard baby. So to me, I'm I don't think
I've already been put through
any worse than that. So,
and I feel a lot of moms have more than 2 kids. I've heard that's you kind of just are exactly. It's almost
the 3rd one comes and just kind of slides right under the radar and goes with the flow is what I've heard as well. So fingers crossed.
They're the quiet, weird ones that just sit in the corner and observe.
Yeah, I'm really hoping so.
I love that. Well, and from what I've seen on social media and obviously the conversations that we've had, it seems you take a lot more of a natural approach to parenting and lifestyle. Is that accurate, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. It's been a journey.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a journey of, when I was pregnant with my son, I was pregnant for the first time, and it was right in the middle of COVID.
Oh,
so
shit.
I was very, impressionable, and I was, changing a lot, and my mindset was
you would
shifting.
have been, what, 21, 22?
Yeah, I was 21. Yeah.
And that's still young.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. So I was super impressionable, and I went straight down the rabbit hole and straight to the extreme. I feel
of just, COVID or just
natural.
I want to do what's best for my baby.
Yeah, well, everyone does, right? But I just went to like one extreme end.
Okay.
And then right away, like, I was like, everything's going to be all natural. I'm going to do everything all natural, even from, like, the birth and when I was pregnant. And then my, like, initiation into motherhood was, like, emergency C-section. And, like, that's literally when I started to learn, okay,
you can't
I'm not in
it.
control of everything. And... Right. There are times where you have to stray away from the plan, and
that's not an easy thing to stomach,
new.
Especially when you have something in your head about how it's going to go. I've always struggled with that, where it's like you have the whole thing played out in your head, and then if it doesn't go anything, you just kind of like freak out. Yeah. Especially being young, especially being a first-time mom. Yeah. Everything's new. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. I
can't imagine.
There's been so many times where... like, I'll be doing something and then I'll realize, like, this is so not what, like, Emma a year ago or, like, Emma 2 years ago would have thought that I would be doing right now, because I would have been, like, sleep training. Like, oh, I'll never sleep train. Well, when you don't sleep for 2 years... you're not even able to be a functional human being.
Seriously.
And you can't be the happy, fun mom that you want to be. So at some point, you have to say, where do we draw the line? Yeah. And, like, what do we do about this?
And I think it's okay to pivot. I think it's totally okay to change your mind.
Exactly, yeah.
No, there's no one right way to do something, right?
It's such a learning experience. Like, every time I'm like sitting here like, what am I going to learn this time with this baby? Like, what's going to change about...
Because every kid's different. Yeah. Right? Every pregnancy is different.
Exactly.
I love that. What got you into, like, was your mom growing up natural and like cloth diapers and all that? Or
she wasn't like cloth diapers. She wasn't like that extreme, but she definitely raised me to be like a critical thinker in the sense of like, make your own choices, be informed, and like in terms of like, I don't know, just, you know, think for yourself, like think critically what's really serious and what's not as serious, that you can kind of just let it go.
Right.
But yeah, cool. I was definitely influenced by her, and my mother-in-law is a holistic doctor.
Okay.
So when I met my husband and we started having kids, I was definitely influenced by her as well, to like, I had never really as an adult like looked into anything like that, and then it was really getting pregnant that then sent me on like the whole journey. But yeah,
I love that for you. That's so cool.
Yeah,
I guess I'm always curious because every mom does everything so differently, right? And like, have you ever done medication? Like, have your kids ever had Tylenol?
They have. Yeah. I try not to use it, like, unless I have to, but there are times that you have to. Yeah. Teething, I usually my kids don't really fever when they're teething. Like, they will be uncomfortable, but for that, I use other things like chew on a green onion or like put stuff on their gums. I've even personally like put whiskey on their gums or like liquor, because I'm like, they're not drinking it, like they're not gonna get drunk. I've
heard that from like so many like older moms. Like, it's such a...
I know, I feel like it's so taboo, like, oh, you rubbed alcohol on their gums. I'm like, well, it worked, so
yeah, I fucking did. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
I always heard that and I was like, I don't know if I can do that.
Well, it does work. Like, if you think about, like, you know, when you take a shot and, like, you're, like, numb for a second, you're like, oh.
And the whiskey's the back of your throat and you're like, ouch, oh, I don't feel anything anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, like, dip your finger and rub it on.
What's that going to do, really? They're not taking a whole fucking shot where they're going to, like...
Exactly. It's not like I'm doing it, like... all day long, or I did it like once.
That's probably not even like half a teaspoon. That's probably like okay, yeah, fair enough.
It's a drop.
What about for like, because I've seen some of your like Instagram stories that are like all these cold and flu remedies. Like, take me through that. What you like, and everything. I feel like half of the shit you pull out of your backyard. Like, how do you know this stuff?
I honestly don't even really know. So like, it's just accumulated knowledge like over time.
My God, sorry. No, I thought we stopped. We're good.
Oh, I was like, is everything okay?
It does this like glitching thing sometimes, but last time it did it, we were fine. So Fingers crossed.
Okay. Well, I feel like it's just like accumulated knowledge, and like some of it's trial and error. Like, I know when my son went to daycare for the first time, he was literally sick for like a year straight.
I've heard the daycare horror stories of being sick.
And I was like, I don't understand, because I was trying everything. I was doing everything that I had read. Anytime he started like detox bath with bentonite clay and like all the things.
Damn.
Elderberry syrup, echinacea, like vitamin
Everything you
C,
could possibly
trying
do.
everything, and nothing was working. And then it was like another moment where I was like, oh, I've just come to this realization that was like, I'm overloading him with like things that are supposed to help when, you know, when you get sick, it's actually a good thing. Your body's detoxing.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to like let the process unfold.
Right. Just let it
And
run
once
its
I
course.
started doing that, it was actually like a huge difference. Like he would
Okay.
get over it in a couple of days instead of being sick for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Like
When
a
I
lot of
just said
babies.
like, okay, you know what? Oh, you're sick. Okay, well, we're going to, you know, drink a lot of water and sleep a lot for a couple of days.
Manage the
and then he's
symptoms,
better.
yeah.
Yeah.
You feel like his immune system's gotten so much better over like...
For sure, yeah. And this year, the kids both had one time where they had a fever and they were really sick instead of being sick like every other week, it felt like. But
Oh my gosh.
They-
Once in a whole year.
once all cold and flu season,
That's
like,
impressive.
and it was two separate, like it wasn't like they both got hit at the same time either. Like my son got sick, he had a fever for like 3 days.
Oh.
And then he was out for like 2 days after that, but then he was fine. And then it was probably like 2 months later that my daughter, she went down with the fever and the cough and whatever, but hers was like 3 hours. Like she woke up from her nap and I was like, oh my God, she's like really warm, and she
Yeah.
was so miserable.
Aw.
I like strapped her on my back. She fell asleep again. And by the time she woke up, she didn't have a fever anymore. I don't know if it was like skin to skin, like
Yeah.
body temperature regulation thing.
How old was she when that happened?
She was like just over 1.
Okay.
So yeah, and that's the only time she's ever had a fever.
Damn.
Yeah.
Not
so-
even teething,
No.
nothing.
No.
That's pretty impressive.
I
'Cause
know.
Do you give them stuff like throughout the year to help build their immune system? Like I've seen your syrups
Yeah,
and stuff like
this
that.
year I did elderberry syrup every single day. Like, did not miss a day.
Wow. For how
And
long and when?
I started it in probably October.
Okay.
So since October, I've been doing it every day.
Damn.
And then if they're actually sick or they're like starting to get sick, I'll do it like 2 or 3 times a day.
And what is it? Like, what do you mean do it? Like, do they drink like a little
I just
shot?
yeah,
or?
they call it their shot. Again, I'm like I'm not an alcoholic. I swear this
No,
is
I
not
know.
alcoholic. Like no, but they call it their shot, and
Yeah.
every night before they go to bed, I just pour like into a little shot glass, probably like 15 milliliters
Yeah.
of the syrup, and then they drink it and
And-
they love it.
Well, good. And what do you make it from? Like,
I make
what are-
it.
I don't even know what elderberries are. I don't think.
Well, they grow around everywhere. I've never picked my own because I can never find any for some reason. But I buy
They're
them.
native to here. Like
They are.
they just grow.
Yeah,
Oh.
they just grow.
Okay.
Obviously, don't pick anything if you don't know what it is. Like, don't use something that you
Fuck
don't know
no.
what it is. I've heard that if you like rub the stem, it smells like peanut butter, and that's a way that you can like for sure be like, this is
Oh,
an elderberry
weird.
plant.
Peanut butter.
I know that elderflower.
Oh my god,
is
there's gonna be
also
one
really
person that
good.
hears this that's gonna go to like every plant and start like rubbing plants to see if it smells like peanut butter.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that. I'm like, I hope that's true. I don't quote me
You've
because
never experienced it.
I've
Okay.
never done it myself.
If you
yet.
experience it, somebody tell us if it's
Yeah,
true.
do they
Okay.
smell like peanut butter? But so I just buy mine at the health food store in Stratford. So
Okay, so you get the berries.
yeah, you get the berries. They have to be dried out or
Okay.
like processed in some way. I'm pretty sure before you can use them. And then I simmer it in water with a cinnamon stick, some cloves, which those things also have more like antimicrobial properties.
Yep.
I throw in some orange peel, and it's for flavor too, because they don't taste good, the elderberries, like on their own.
Oh, really? Are they like super bitter?
They're really, really bitter, yeah.
Kind of like eating a straight cranberry. Like
yeah. Not the best flavor, but great like properties in terms of immune system building. And then I add in some ginger. I just chop some up, throw it in. And I started halfway through the summer putting pine needles in it.
Okay.
Which is an expectorant. So if you're coming down with something, it'll help like get it out of your lungs, basically. Huh. Yeah.
Interesting. So you just boil it all down and then
I strain it and I simmer it for a couple hours with the lid on so that everything, like the vapors are not evaporating and everything's not coming out of it.
Right.
At least 3 hours, and then I'll turn it off and just wait for it to cool down for a couple more hours. And then, I strain it, and then you add about a cup of honey, or you can add more. And I like to use like a local raw honey because that's
the best.
The best of the best.
Yeah. So, I freaking love honey. Oh my God.
Know.
I grew up on like local raw unpasteurized.
Yeah.
Like, and I can't even like eat the teddy bear stuff. I'm like,
I know.
It's okay, but it's like, it's not real to me. I'm like, that's not honey. That's sugar.
I know. So yeah, I put like about a cup of that in there.
Oh, wow.
And then that also helps, like, because again, it wouldn't taste good. You could it's totally safe to drink it without that, but like it would not be appetizing.
Especially for kids, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I personally don't even really love the flavor of it. Like, I don't really drink it unless I'm like actively sick. Then I will drink some. Yeah. But I'm like, I just save it for the kids because they get hit so hard with sickness. So
right.
I let them have it every day. Exactly. But I don't like it. But they love it. They like. They
think it's fun. Probably like, oh, I'm doing a shot.
Yeah, they do. They definitely think it's fun. So
isn't that so funny? Like we do things more for our kids than we do for ourselves.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like I am like so like because my son's very anti-vegetable right now, so I'm doing everything like making juices, putting veggie muffins, everything to get into him. Me? Do you think I eat fucking vegetables half the time? No, I don't. But I'm like so focused on him.
I feel like that with like fruit because fruit is so expensive. So like when I buy fruit, I'm like, here's a huge fruit salad, guys. And then if there's like half a grape left, I'm like,
score.
Oh, yes. I got to eat a grape today. Like,
yeah. Oh my God. Every foods in general is just getting ridiculous.
Oh, I know. I'm going to be doing a vegetable garden this year, so I'm really excited. It's my first time.
If you yield too much,
it.
hit me up.
Oh, yeah, I will. Well, I'm having a baby in July, so if you want to come like adopt my garden.
I don't know shit about plants.
At that point, you would probably just have to pick stuff, so.
Fair enough. I can do that. I can do that. I'll work for my fruits of my labor. Speaking of food, like, are you more of like a whole food kind of mom cook? What's your MO?
Yeah, I try and do a lot of home cooking, like to an extent. Again, I've had to like balance a bit. One point I was like, we're only making our own breads, and then that lasted for like 3 months maybe.
Oh my God,
I'm
kept seeing you post like, made this bread, made this. I'm like,
yeah.
How does this bitch have the fucking energy for all this?
I don't know. I get asked that all the time. Like, how do you do all this? I'm like, I don't really know. I just do it.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's normal. Like, again, that's something that I was modeled by my mom. Like, she cooked dinner every single day. Like, we rarely would eat out. And
my family was the same.
Yeah. Like, so that to me was like the example I was given. So
right.
I don't find it, like, yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, blah, blah, blah. But, like, again, when you're a mom, you don't really have the option to be like, well, I'm going to opt out for tonight.
Right?
You're like, oh, I'm really tired. Anyways.
It's so annoying because, like, I used to always have girl dinner. Like, because my husband works evenings or, like, works nights. So I'm, like, by myself. I'm like, cool, I can just eat, like, a couple of Cheetos and a piece of cheese and like call it a dinner. And I'm like, fuck no, I have to make my kids something to eat. Like, I can't have just straight girl dinner no more, man.
I know. The worst part about it, like, I don't find the act of cooking or doing any of that like too trying, but
the dishes.
I find, well, the dishes suck. Yeah, we don't have a dishwasher, so that sucks. But I find like it's the mental like, okay, what are we going to eat next week every single day for dinner? And then it's like, do we have all the ingredients to make all of those things? Like doing the cupboard and like the fridge and freezer scan. Like, what do we have? What do we need? And like now that I'm back to work too, it's like planning in sequence of like, okay, what takes the most time and effort to make, so we'll have that on the weekend versus like what's quick and easy to make during the week.
Work, right.
That to me is the worst part. Like I feel like I sit there for like hours,
right?
And I'm like,
because your brain's kind of blank. Like I do the same thing. I'm like, wait, I like forget what I could even possibly make. I'm like, I have no idea what to make for dinner.
Every time I'm like Googling family dinner
healthy dinner recipes.
Like, what am I making this week? And then I don't want to be boring and like make the same thing every week. But at the same time, sometimes, you know, you got something good. Yeah, you have things that go in rotation.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And do your kids care? Like, are they like, oh yeah, love the whole grains, love the veggies? Or are they like, where the fuck are the Dunkaroos, Mom? Like, hello.
They're kids, so, you know, when I go grocery shopping and I do buy, like, I don't just buy fruits and vegetables and, like, meat. I do buy snacks, and not all of them are organic, GMO-free, whatever. Like, we live...
Thank God, Emma's human, everyone. She's a person.
We live a little over here. So...
Okay, I actually love that you can say that and you're not like so far like on one end where like it's not, sometimes you just need easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes
it's like, not always practical, like and especially I feel like, you know, it some people would say like, oh, it is doable because we do it. Okay, but it takes a lot of more effort that sometimes you just don't have.
Or financials too,
and
right?
Money, yeah, it's so
especially
expensive.
in Canada now. Like, I don't know about other places, but like the food is just getting ridiculous.
I know, because I used to try and get, you know, the organic or like the free from meat at the grocery store, and I would try and selectively pick like what was, in my opinion, more important to buy as like organic produce, or like. Or just in general organics. Like I would get organic cereals and like organic pastas and stuff like that.
With like all the less filler and bullshit
like
in
the preservatives and whatever.
That's fair.
But now it's like, okay,
triple the fucking price.
Yeah, if you want to eat, you're gonna eat what I got. So,
and that's the annoying thing too. Is like all the garbage is so cheap to make because it's all like factory processed chemical. Like,
trust me, I went through it where I was like, you know, for a while I was like just so angry about that, just like, this is so unacceptable. Why do we allow this to happen?
Right.
Like people that aren't as fortunate, then they have health issues because they aren't able to eat things that are good for them. Or like the stuff that they're eating is promoting disease, that it's just a cycle.
And it's addictive too, right?
Yes, that's too. That's the thing
too.
with kids too. I find like it's usually in the winter, you know, where you're not getting out as much. You're tired because there's like 6 hours of daylight.
Literally.
And
hello, welcome to Canada.
Yeah. And like for me, I just had like a really young baby the past 2 winters. Like my daughter was born in December, so she was a newborn, and then she just turned 1. Right. So the last 2 winters have been like a write-off. We watched so much TV. We ate so much crap, blah, blah, blah. And my son would like refuse to eat the real food.
Okay.
Because he was so used to eating Kraft Dinner or whatever, grilled cheese every day.
Okay.
And then they started going to this daycare. Shout out to my friend Hannah. She's amazing. They eat like so clean there.
What? At a daycare?
Yeah. Like I don't even really think that they eat much sugar.
Wow.
At all. Like they'll eat like chocolate. They'll have chocolate chips on top of their like dates with peanut butter, and it's all like whole foods.
Oh my gosh!
And I've noticed. I noticed after a couple weeks of them going there, they stopped throwing such a fuss about normal real food.
Wow.
And then they also, like, my son was starting to get up at like 7:00 in the morning and go into the kitchen and like open up the cupboards looking for junk. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, his brain is so underdeveloped that he's like, I need something right now.
Oh, no.
And he's like waking himself up, going by himself and like scavenging.
How old was he?
He was 3. And it was the same with the TV. I would get up like half an hour after him.
Okay.
And he would be sitting there watching TV, eating an ice cream sandwich. And I'm like,
how did you get what?
Dude,
hello?
Like, no. And so then you just, you as the parent, you're like, okay, I'm not going to buy that anymore because
Right.
it's driving me crazy.
Right.
Is it his fault? No, he's a kid.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's honestly, it's up to me to have the choices that I want. I can't be like, oh, you're eating an ice cream sandwich at 7:00 in the morning? Like, no, you can't do that.
When it's sitting there in the freezer.
Yeah, it's sitting there.
He's not going to pick the apple.
Exactly.
That's
so
fair.
It's up to me to have the right choices available for him. And like it was an adjustment period. Like, you know, they literally go through like withdrawal where they're grumpy and I'm always hungry, blah, blah, blah. And then they get over it because they get used to it. And
they're actually more satiated than
exactly.
they would be eating that
exactly
other stuff,
because when you eat that, then you need to eat that again in half an hour, and then you need to eat that again half an hour from then,
because it's such a spike and then crash, spike and then crash,
and it doesn't keep you full. And I try and really emphasize now, like, okay, you know, he'll get his dinner, and I try and do like a protein, a vegetable, and a carb, like that sort of.
Like a balance.
The balance. And he goes mostly for the carbs because he's a kid.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, like, you know, oh, if you eat depending on what it is, like, oh, if you eat your carrots, like, they're really good for your eyes and you'll see in the dark tonight. Like, eat your carrots. So he will eat his carrots.
Oh,
and he'll be
funny.
like, I'm going to see in the dark tonight. Like, so cute. And I'm like, if you eat your meat, like, it has protein in it. It's going to help you feel full for longer, blah,
Build
blah, blah.
strong muscles.
And you're going to grow and you're going to be so big and strong. And
so there's you're giving more of a reason behind the food now and why it's good for them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
I do. Yeah. Cause I feel like also when you're a kid, it's important to an extent, like, kids feel so powerless, I feel like sometimes, which can cause like the battles. So if you empower them to know like why you're saying no sometimes or why things are allowed sometimes, then they just feel that much more in control of like what's going on in a way that's like age appropriate for them.
Right. And they feel like they have a say in like what's going on there. Maybe instead of like you're saying, no, you can't have this sugar because it's bad, you're just saying, well, sugar's not going to be helpful for your body, so you're going to choose carrot sticks and celery sticks. Yeah. Okay. I like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I try and do that now.
Now.
Because I lived and I learned.
Well, and you know what? That's exactly what fucking parenting is half the time.
Yeah.
It's like trial and error. It's you're changing, your opinions on things are changing. Everything.
And we live in a world that is changing really rapidly as well.
Yeah.
So,
and he's not going in school. He's too young for that. I don't think.
He could start school in September, but he's not going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's too, like, you're surrounded by things that you can't control what he's seeing or like other kids are saying.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm not saying school's bad, obviously.
No, yeah.
But it depends on like what kind of lifestyle you want to live and what you want your kids to learn and like things like that too.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the outdoors because I see you're always outside. Your kids are always outside every season. Like
they are. I really try and not put limits on going outside. Like I don't like to say, oh, like it's raining, we can't go outside. Like you can go outside, you just need to dress appropriately.
Right.
There's a quote that goes something like, there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothes. So, like, if you suit up, you can go out and...
It's a snowstorm. I'm not going to go in shorts and a t-shirt. That's bad weather.
There have been some times where I'm like, I'm
maybe,
I'm
like-
being a little extra. Like, we went outside in like an absolute blizzard. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. I was like winded. I had my snowshoes on and I was carrying the baby, and like my son was like almost up to his hips. Like, we were like walking through the field for some reason, like in a blizzard, to get to this like area of trees because we wanted to, you know,
Have a
check
little
it
adventure.
out. Yeah, we were going on a little adventure, and like
That's
I was
amazing.
literally like, oh my god, and the wind, like my eyelashes were like icicled. And I'm like, we probably could have just done this like tomorrow, or
It could have been a movie day and we would have survived.
yeah,
you know?
exactly. I'm like, I don't think that was necessary. And like, my husband literally stayed inside. He's like, why? What are you doing?
Oh,
And I'm like,
that would 100% be me. I'd be like, absolutely fucking
Yeah.
not. Am I going out in that?
He's like, you guys are going outside? I'm like, yeah, they want to go outside. Like, who am I to say no? I feel like I say that a lot. I'm like, who am I to say no? Like, the kids want to go outside.
Challenge
and then,
accepted.
yeah. And like, I remember even saying to my son, because he was like, I can't do it. So, and like, I'm walking first, and I'm like, walk in the path that I'm creating, because it was like impossible. And at one point I said to him, like, you know what? This would have been a good day to stay inside. Like, this is not actually the type of weather where you need to be outside.
Okay that you have 1 or 2
Yeah,
days.
yeah. Like, we didn't need to do this today, but we're already out here, so it's a learning experience.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So like, how good do you feel like the being outside all the time is for kids? Like, what do you think? How much are they benefiting? What's nature doing for them? Like,
I think that it's the best thing. Like, it's the best possible thing.
yeah.
I mean, that's how, like, we used to live outside. Like, not to sound super, like...
Oh, like you mean like me?
Yeah,
Live
like, we
our
we were
ancestors.
made to be outside, just, like, chilling in nature all the time.
Fair point.
It's so regulating for your nervous system. It's so good for their development. Like, everything outside is a sensory experience. Like,
That's
the
true.
air, there's smells in the air. There's like different,
Yeah.
there could be windy, it could be not windy, it could be sunny, it could be cloudy. You could touch the grass, you can touch the dirt, you can touch stones.
There's tons of textiles. Yeah.
Like, the whole experience of being outside, like, you're learning the whole time. And like, I feel like also as a parent, I feel a lot more relaxed when we're outside and we're not like limited to a certain space, or like we don't have to limit
Space, yeah.
like the volume of our voices. Like, if we're inside, you know, there's a limit where you're like, okay,
Maybe
we
let's
need
not
to be
scream at
quiet.
the top of our
Yeah,
lungs.
we need to quiet down. But when you're outside, you know, like, run around, scream,
Get your
laugh.
energy out.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. That's so good for them. And then that's also like an environment that's like, there's no toys. So it promotes like your imagination. What game are we going to play?
Yeah.
We're going to fight dragons. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's fight dragons. I think that's important. I grew up so much outside too.
Yeah, I
And
grew
it
up
wears
on
them
a
out.
farm. Yeah, I grew up on a farm, and like, yeah, you would just go outside and find something to do. And like,
Yeah.
sometimes I worry about kids these days that don't do that. And it's not even necessarily
Yeah.
their fault. Like, sometimes if you live like in an area that's not safe or something, you can't just be like, okay, kids, go
Okay,
outside. Yeah,
And it is such a different world now, even in like small towns that like used to be like when we were young. Okay, yeah, walk the streets of town and go do your thing after dark. Like, just come home, you know. And now it's
Yeah.
like you hear vans pulling up to kids, and you're
I
like,
know.
I just don't know if it's. And there's more traffic now.
It's really scary. It's
so sad.
It is. It's sad and it's scary.
Yeah.
Like, part of me, again, like, feels that anger where I'm like, everything going on in the world is like training us or like conditioning us or limiting us to like a certain way of like a very sedentary, like, you don't go outside, like,
Right.
don't see the light of day, don't move your body, don't eat real food. And then like,
Nobody's saying that, but like everything's like you have all your social medias. Every
Yeah.
kid's got tablets, TV is like anything you want at the click of a button. Like we had to wait for fucking commercials and whatever
I
was playing,
know.
that's what we watched,
Yeah.
right? Whereas kids have everything at their fingertips. Like
They do.
Like you said, that's what they grow up with, and all of our food's changing, and it's like everything points to, because that's what's fun for them. That's what's addicting for them. Yeah. It is scary.
These are going to be like one of the first generation of kids that grow up like exposed to it right from the start too. I don't think we know yet what the repercussions are. Like specifically, I think of mental health. Mm-hmm. I even know for myself, like I didn't grow up with it from the time I was little, but when I was like a preteen, like everyone was getting a phone and whatever. And I've totally gone through times where I'm like, whoa, like I've been on my phone so much.
Yeah.
This is so unhealthy. And then when you think about how you feel in those, like when you realize that, you're like, well, I don't feel like that great. I don't feel like I have a lot of energy. But
why
like,
am I like kind of feel blah? I'm not necessarily sad, but maybe I am. Or why do I want to change all these things about myself all of a sudden? Because you're seeing it. Yeah. And you don't even notice that until you come out like on the other side. And then you're like, whoa, like that was taking away a lot of my ability to actually like live life. Because you're not living in the moment. You're living through other people's like, you know, best
and you're getting
selfies.
like dopamine after dopamine hit, and then eventually like real dopamine
doesn't do it,
and it's a cycle where like it just sucks you back in.
Oh my god, 100%. I definitely have gone through like periods. I remember in my fourth year of university, I was like kind of in a slump, and I was like, and I couldn't figure it out, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take a break from social media for a while. I'm gonna try. This is when I first got together with my now husband, and he was like, hey, I was like, I'm gonna go the whole semester, January to April, end of April, I'm not gonna use social media. He's like, I'll give you $50 fucking if you do it. I was like, done, bitch, you're on. $50. I made it. And I was going to the gym, I was studying, like I felt so much better. Yeah. And it's like you kind of want it back because you got that FOMO too, right? What am I missing? What am I missing? What am I missing? I have been really considering doing that lately. But then I also feel like when you do that, people think that something's wrong. Yeah. Like, you know, or like even, I mean, I'm guilty for it too. Like when you see someone like make a status that's like, all right, taking a break from social media, you're just like, ooh, that person's going through it right now. But you're not even, I definitely didn't announce it because I'm like not an attention person, but like I get that. So I mean I wouldn't do that anyway. Who hurt you? I'm not even trying to judge. Like, no, but you know, you just think like, you know, that's pretty drastic. And it's sad that's seen as drastic too. And if like someone's just not on social media, you're like, what are you hiding? What is wrong with you? Yeah, or like what's going on in their life? Like what happened? Something really bad must have happened. Yeah. So I don't know. I've been thinking like I feel like I just need to take a break from it, but then I'm like, well, I don't want people to think that I've like gone off the. But you know, who gives a fuck what the other people think? I know. That's what you have to get over. It's so much easier said than done. Obviously, I still like, you know, but half of it's not even real anyways, and that's the thing. I think we're all living in this like false reality because not many people fully share exactly how their life is. No, I don't. Oh my god, people don't share like the hard moments. Like I really sometimes, but not. I really liked your video the other day where you were like, oh my god, I yelled at my kid, and like not just like I raised my voice, like I literally was like lost it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that is so real because every mom does that, and like nobody's talking about it like openly. Because, you know, oh my god, like I've never done that, or like you need help. It's like, no, you have done that and you're just pretending that you didn't because you want to be better than me. Right. Everyone does that. Like, and it's not an easy thing to admit because like, no, you know, and you don't feel good about it. No, you don't. I felt awful. I was like, I need to do better. But I was at a point last week that I was so burnt out. I was pre-period, so I just felt really dysregulated last week, and I was like so exhausted, and I had nothing left to give, nothing, and that's not an excuse, but that's the reason why I had such a temper. Yeah, and he was so needy, and he was pissing me off, and I totally lost my shit. Yeah, and he just like hugged me, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's the worst. It's awful. And like, I think like a lot of other moms that I'm friends with are similar to me, where like we try and be like gentle parenting and calm and, you know, focus on keeping ourselves regulated. But even when I talk to those friends and stuff, they're like, you know what, everyone does that, and the point is not like to be perfect. You did that and so now it's ruined. Right. Like, it's not. And no one is a perfect, gentle, regulated, calm parent 24/7.
Unless you're a fucking robot.
I feel like when I feel like I can see myself being like that when my kids are older and when I'm older and I have more experience. Because like as a young mom too, I'm still just learning how to do that. Oh my God,
you're mid-20s? Yeah. We don't even know who we are still. We're trying to figure out what our path is, who we are, who we want to be, our emotional intelligence.
Exactly.
And that's a huge thing. Like, that's why I felt so bad too, because I'm like, I want to be a good example. I want to teach him how to take a breath, regulate yourself, and then respond. But you're human.
But the thing is that every time you mess up, it's like, it's just an opportunity to come back and say like, I'm really sorry that happened. That wasn't the way to deal with it. Yeah. But it happened. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah. Saying sorry, and then just
mommy made a mistake. That is actually that's such forward, a good thing to teach your kids too.
It is.
Everybody can make a mistake.
Take accountability. Mm-hmm. Yep, you're gonna mess up and
apologize for your actions.
No one is a gentle parent. Everyone is trying to be a gentle parent. Yeah, and that makes you a gentle parent. Like, no one is doing it successfully 100% of the time.
That's so true. No matter how many social media influencers post all these videos of their moments, which are amazing. I actually learned so much from the way that they talk to their child. But like you said, they're not doing that they're not fucking perfect.
No, exactly.
And that's why there's rabbit holes that we can all get into that are like, oh my God, I'm such a terrible mom. But bad moms don't know they're bad moms.
That's true.
So if you think you're a bad mom, you're not a fucking bad mom.
Exactly. Yeah. Honestly, yeah. That's like the toxic side of social media too.
Yeah. And especially like mom social media.
Yeah. It puts extra pressure. Like, I think that's another reason why I try and just take the road of like, I'm going to trust myself and my instincts as a mother. And that doesn't mean never seeking outside advice. Sure. Because that's part of it. Is knowing when, like, okay, I don't know how to handle XYZ, so now I'm going to go and ask, like, a trusted person.
For sure.
Or I'm going to look at this account that I trust, that I like the advice, whatever. Yeah. But, like, you really need to step back. Like, I feel like parents, like, 50 years ago, they didn't have the same amount of stress that we do now because they didn't have information being shoved up their butt 24/7
and unsolicited advice that you're not looking for
every single direction. Like, everywhere you turn, you can't even like walk through the grocery store without somebody making a comment about like what your kid is dressed in.
Oh,
like, are they dressed for the weather?
Right? If they don't have a fucking sock on, you're going to hear about it.
Oh, from at least 3 people. And I don't
know how many times. Like, I don't know why that irritates me so much. I
started carrying the socks, like, so that I could be like, well, like, she had them on. She didn't want them on.
She took them off.
Or, like, the hats. Like, oh, you don't have a hat on. You're going to be really cold.
Or when they passive aggressively talk to the kid. Are you not, and they're a baby, are you not so cold without a hat? My kid will not wear a hat. He rips it off the second it hits his head. I wish he would in the sun. It drives me insane. What am I going to do?
I know.
Glue it onto his fucking head? What do you want me to do, Karen? Jesus.
I know. It's well, honestly, it's like silly comments like that too,
so
where
it shouldn't bother us.
It shouldn't really bother you, but like, I feel like we're already all walking around with like senses of doubt or like questioning literally everything that we're doing.
I know.
Because we're tuning in too much to like what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
Where if you just step back and you're like, well, they're not going to die if they walked from the car to the store without a hat on.
Right. Exactly.
I know this.
You know
this is rational to me.
And I think like you made a good point before of like, you need to like be comfortable with what you're doing and your values and what you know is good for your children. They are not anyone else's children.
Yeah, exactly.
And there are two extremes of like, okay, I'm taking in way too much from everyone else. I don't even have my own opinion. I don't know how to parent my own kids without someone else telling me what to do. You can get into that rabbit hole. And then there is the other extreme of like not listening to anybody, doing my own thing. And there's ignorance in that too that can be dangerous, of thinking you know it all. And then not seeking help when you're stuck, or you're convincing yourself you're doing the right thing even though it's completely fucking wrong. You know what I mean? So I think that's cool that you're like, okay, I've got what I've got. If I don't know something, I'm okay to ask or look it up. I think that's important.
It is. It is. And I feel like that should just be the norm. Like, I feel like the extreme ends of the spectrum create more anxiety for parents.
True.
And
that's true.
Like, we already have so much to worry about.
Especially as females, too. Like,
I know.
How much?
I know. Like,
do you ever feel like, have you ever experienced any kind of, like, judgment for some of the choices that you're making? And, like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to give my kids Tylenol, or I'm not going to, like, have them on the TV too much, or, like, whatever it is. Do you ever feel?
For sure. For sure. I feel like it's
just so sucky.
Yeah, mostly, I feel like I've mostly been really blessed in the sense of like the people that are closest to me, like my closest friends and family, they really just let me like be who I am.
I love that. They
don't try and like change my mind or like sway me in one direction or the other.
Yeah.
I don't love confrontation in general. And sometimes I think back, like, was that person really like confronting me on that? Or did I just feel like super attacked and like defensive? It mostly, I feel like, stems from the fact that like I'm not sending my son to school.
Okay.
A lot of people have a lot of things to say about that.
Interesting.
Which, like, maybe they feel like, okay, up until this point, like, we've let this all go, but now this is going too far.
Okay, Emma,
I don't know, but you know, I'm not saying never, because I do want him to go to school and, you know, have friends and socialize and have that experience of being a kid as well. I just think like when you're a little kid, like we take away being a kid really soon from kids these days. Like I don't think,
a good point. I've never
I don't
heard
think
that
when
argument.
you're 4 and 5 and 6 and like maybe even 7, like you don't need to go and sit down and formally learn things. Like, because like I said before, you're learning everything by just being a kid and playing. Like, you're learning.
Yeah.
That's a learning experience. And
they have lots of like toys and parents at home that are already trying to teach the ABCs and counting and things like that. That's I never heard that argument. I respect that.
Just like let them be kids.
Yeah.
There's no rush. Like everyone learns how to read and write at some point. Mm-hmm. Maybe I shouldn't say everyone. Most people know how to read and write as an adult. Sure. And no, like it doesn't matter if you learned that when you were 5 or you were 10. Like you got there. It's okay.
A for effort, Charlie.
Just like I just feel like there's we don't need to pressure. We don't need to put pressure on our kids of like, oh, Timmy can do the ABCs and you can't. So like now you have to study. Like you have to spend more of your time that you could be just being a kid. You have to learn your ABCs. Like I don't know.
It's not for you.
No, it's not for me.
Yeah.
I just want them to be kids. And even that is like a really hard route to take. Because right now I'm sitting in the boat of like, okay, how am I going to make that work just like financially?
Right.
Like, am I going to stay home after I have this baby and homeschool him, or am I going to send him to like a private like forest school or like a Montessori based school, which are few and far between in this area, which I think is really sad and expensive. So and then when you have 3 kids, like the other 2 need to go to daycare, which is expensive. And
kids are pricey.
They are.
Especially if like most people, you're a middle or low to middle class income, and doesn't matter if you have 2, everything is expensive nowadays, so it's hard to even float yourself, let alone fucking 3 kids.
It is. I don't know, like, it just is expensive.
It just is. And like, you know, I think you making your own choices that are gonna be good for you and your family should just be the end of the conversation. I think there's a lot of judgment. I think both ways. I think I've seen videos of like moms who are like maybe even more natural than you being like, oh, you're giving your kid this, you're doing that for your kid. And it's like, okay, but I'm not you.
I never, ever like to judge anybody. Like there's reasons for that some people do things. Like everyone has a reason. Know about. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Like I would never hear like, oh, so-and-so is doing XYZ and be like, oh, why would they do that? Like I would just...
Unless it's something super dangerous or
dramatic. Dangerous, yes.
You
like
all draw the line. Like, oh my God, you're letting your kid jump off a 2-story window onto a mattress? Like, okay, maybe I'd be like mom shaming that person, but like nobody else.
No, if it's like a safety issue, then for sure.
For sure.
But then again, like there are people who take that very literally and would be like, oh, like there's a safety issue with Tylenol or something. Like, you know, there's people who do that.
And if they believe that, that's fine. But it's like, don't judge a mom who just has to get through.
Exactly.
And they trust Tylenol.
Yeah,
A lot of moms don't, and that's their prerogative. And if they have information about it, that's fine.
Yeah.
You do you. I'm not going to judge you for not giving your kid fucking Tylenol. I don't give a fuck if you give your kid Tylenol or not.
Yeah.
I don't use it a lot. I use it when I feel like I need it.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah, you know what? You do you. I'll do me. Let's like, and there's both sides. There's moms like who are full like medicine, you know, regular diapers, baby food, whatever, who are like, oh my God, you're like making your own baby food. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why can't you just buy... Shut up.
I know.
Shut up.
I know. I feel like if we just stopped commenting, like sometimes it comes from a good place and like you just want to help somebody, but also there's like ways to feel that out. Like if you're meeting a new mom and you're like, oh, how's breastfeeding going? And they say like, oh, it's going great. Like, end the conversation. Don't be like,
don't push.
Do you want me to help you? Like, whip your titty out. Like, don't do that.
I can help you latch. I'm the best at this.
Just don't. Or if they say like, no, it's not, it didn't go well and we're doing formula, don't be like, well, you should really try
harder.
This and this or whatever. Like, just
oh my God,
just let it go. Or like,
do not.
If you feel so compelled, like, ask more questions, but don't just push your opinion on someone
because you have no idea what they went through.
Exactly.
With any kind of experience.
Exactly. Just, you know, you can, if you're really concerned and you're coming from a good place, like, sure, you could say like, what happened, or like, do you want to talk about it even? Because some people don't even care to talk about it.
No. And they don't have to.
No, exactly.
Exactly. Like you said, feel it out. Read the room. If you're close with somebody and you can push certain things, okay, fine, you care about them. But if it's like someone you just fucking met, or someone you don't know that well, then shh, keep it to yourself, okay? Read the room.
Yeah.
I want to know about cloth diapers, okay? Because I know you use cloth diapers.
I do.
And I have recently come across, I was going with my aunt to a baby shower and she was going to take that approach. And I was like, okay, cool. Like we can pick some up for her, right? They're not fucking cheap.
No,
and I'm like,
not.
okay, what's the drive? Is it like an environmental reason? Is it cost-wise? I want to know because I don't know anything about it.
The first initial drive that I had was environmental reasons.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, like, kids wear like 10, 12 diapers a day.
Especially at first.
Yeah, and like if you think about it, every diaper that's ever been used, it still exists here somewhere, some way.
I don't want to know.
Like it's not. It didn't disappear when you threw it in the garbage. Like it is still here. And
That's
like
terrible.
you could even go as far as to be like sometimes garbage leaks into like water systems, and then you're ingesting like poo. So like you can go there, but you don't have to. But
Fair.
then like once I started looking into it more, I was like, oh, so it is an upfront cost for sure. But
Yeah.
I bought a lot of mine used
Okay.
on Facebook Marketplace, and then it was trial and error. Like I found a couple brands that I was like, okay, I really like the way these ones work, and I didn't have problems with them. Some of them were too old because they were used, so I was like, okay, these are just not working, so can't use these.
Right.
But yeah, I really like them. I feel like last time, like I used them with my son, and now I use them with my daughter. With my son, I was a little bit extreme in the sense of like I brought them camping.
Oh.
And like had a big bag of stinky diapers like in our tent.
Oh my God.
For a week.
A whole week?
Yeah. And was like,
you didn't like go rinse them in the...
No.
I mean, where would you, I guess?
And I just like, I was literally like, I don't need to use, like, I am
not doing disposable
like,
for 1 week.
I don't need to, I'm going to bring these camping to show people that you can do it. Like, it's not that hard. Like, that was the mentality.
You know what? Power to you, babe.
But you know what? I actually got like burnt out of them. Like when I went back to work and my son was going to daycare, and the daycare lady said that she would use them because she had used them with her son.
Okay.
And then like if she ever listened to this, she would be like, you never sent the cloth diapers, because I literally gave up on them.
Did you?
It was too much work. I was like, I can't send them every day. So like every day I got there, I'd be like, there's just normal diapers in there. Like don't worry about it. Blah blah blah.
Okay, so you did a mix.
I did a mix, yeah.
Okay.
And then this time I went into it with the mindset of like, okay, if I'm going away from home, I don't need to use them. I do enough. Like, I do my part by using them when I use them.
Yeah.
And, like, ironically, I've been using them so much more. I think because, like, I took the pressure off myself.
Right.
And it doesn't feel like a chore.
And you're not feeling guilty for using one pull-up.
No, exactly. I've never used them overnight. I just don't. Like
cloth diapers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've always just used a regular disposable diaper at nighttime. And like my son's.
Are they leaky? Like what? Are they pretty good?
It's trial and error. Like everyone's different. So like my son, he used to pee like a lot. I feel like he was always it was always leaking. I had to change him like every hour, which was a lot. And that's probably part of the reason why I was like, I'm so done with these. Or I found like
that's a lot of laundry, I feel like.
It is. Right now I do it every like 3 days roughly.
Holy fuck.
Every 3 days I wash my diapers.
Is it just, are there like liners too?
Yeah.
Like I don't actually, it's just a piece of cloth?
So there's like the diaper, like the outside like diaper fitting thing with the straps or like the buttons. And then inside there's material, like an insert it's called, and it goes in there, and then when
kind of like a pad?
Yeah, kind of. And there's different materials. Like some of them are made out of bamboo, some of them are made out of cotton, some of them are made out of hemp. Like you just try different ones, or that's what I did. And found the ones that work well and the combo that goes well. And then, you take everything apart to wash it. Like you pull out the inserts. If there's poo, you have to rinse it off, which...
I wouldn't, throw that in your fucking washing machine full of
like some people think that that's gross. Like, oh, you're rinsing the poo. I don't find it gross. I don't find it any different than like wiping a poopy diaper, like wiping a poopy bum.
Especially when it's your own kid's poop. Like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I've
I'm
had
like
that all over my freaking arms before.
Yeah, exactly. Like they have like shit on your lap. Like you're not concerned about touching the poo, and
Yeah.
I don't find it gross at all. The number one question is always like, well, doesn't it smell? And I like, okay, no dirty diaper smells good. Like, have you ever forgotten to take out the diaper genie?
Yes.
And then you go to take it out and you're like,
oh my God. Or you do it like,
holy mother of God.
my biggest thing, you know, when you like take out the bag and then you go to like shush it
Yeah.
to like tie it, and then you don't hold your breath and you just get a big poof
Yeah.
of
Yeah. That's worse.
Ugh.
That is like 10
cumulative,
times worse.
like sitting there for days. Shit.
Yeah. That's worse than just like opening up a poopy diaper and rinsing it off for what?
Do they stain?
5 seconds. Yeah, they stain. You can wash them with bleach. I love the summer because if I hang it out in the sun, all the stains are gone. There's never a stained one in the summertime.
Damn.
Throughout the winter, they do get stained, but that doesn't bother me either because I know that it's clean. Like I know that I've washed
And
it
who's
properly.
looking at it?
Exactly.
It's going against their private parts.
Exactly. Like it's gonna get dirty anyways. It's not meant to be like shiny white. It's a diaper. Like it's
underneath clothes anyway. So like,
Yeah.
who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
so
Okay.
like yes, they do smell when they're dirty. If you're putting on a new one, no, it doesn't smell. Like we're not just going around
do you
putting
use disposable
smelly
wipes.
I do. This time
Yeah.
I do. I didn't. Last time I used cloth wipes as well.
Damn.
Which it's too much work. I feel like for me, like if you're out and about, like if you're at home, it's not a big deal to like go and wet a couple of cloths and then use them as a wipe. But
Sure.
I have not cared to do that this time at all. I'm like,
I do not
that's
blame
fine.
you. I don't think that there's many moms out there that solely do both and like never touch anything. And if you do, power fucking to you.
Yeah,
I am not judging you.
That would
I
be a lot
commend
of work.
you,
Yeah.
like fully, because my mom asked me when I was pregnant. She's like, "Are you using cloth diapers?" And I was like, "No, absolutely fucking not." I hate laundry though.
Yeah.
Like I can do any other chore. I'll clean the toilet. I will do laundry. I do laundry, but I don't like laundry. So I'm like, I can't add more.
You know
I cannot
what?
add more laundry.
They also have now, I like to tell people because some people choose this route and they wouldn't have done it without knowing, but they have now like cloth diaper services that you can pay for, and they will come every week or every other week or
Shut
twice
the
a week
fuck
or like
up.
however often you need them. They come and they drop off the cleaned cloth diapers. They take your dirty ones, and then it all gets like washed and sanitized in a facility.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just like a service, and then like
even in our area?
Yeah,
Because we live in small town Ontario.
They do have them in this area.
I love that for us.
Yes, and I think
Probably expensive.
I think it's expensive, but I mean, so is buying diapers. I find.
That's true.
Like, how much do you spend on diapers? Would you know?
I don't know if I would know. It's hard to say because, like, we had a diaper party and we got a lot of diapers.
Right.
But now, obviously, we're out of all of our, like, newborn, all the stuff that we had. I don't know. We buy the big box of Huggies, which is like $40-something, $44 maybe.
Yeah.
And it lasts us a while,
Yeah.
I would say. Maybe a month,
Yeah.
I think.
And then like
I don't know.
$10 on wipes, like $50 a month. I feel like that's what I like assume that I'm saving.
Yeah.
And then I mean like my son wears pull-ups.
Are you paying for it in like water and stuff though? Like I don't.
Well,
I'm
we don't
terrible
pay
for that. I don't know.
We don't pay for water. Like we live on a farm, so we have a well. So we're not really paying for water.
And your hydro, you can do it on off hours or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah.
And you don't use a dryer in the summer.
No,
Okay.
I actually didn't use
So, yeah,
my
you
dryer
probably are
all
saving.
winter either. Wow. Yeah. Well, we first moved, and then we moved in the winter, and our hydro bill was so high. Like, I went Pioneer and like cooked on the wood stove every day. Like, didn't use the dryer for like 3 months. Well, good
I
grief.
commend you.
I was
but
like,
you're a fucking animal.
And the first month that we did that, I think we saved like $30 on that. And I was so ticked. I was like, we lived like pioneers for
$30
weeks,
fucking dollars a month.
and we saved $30. And then I was like, I'll just cook normally, like in the normal fucking
not worth
stove.
the $30.
Like, no, it wasn't worth the $30, and it wasn't even
what an
the problem.
experience.
It was.
What
it
a
was.
fucking experience. Yeah, I guess your stove would not be the fucking problem.
No.
Oh my God.
Like people were convincing me that it was, because they're like, well, really old appliance, like blah blah blah. I'm like, that you're right.
It's not. That's not going to give you.
Or like even like
trying.
the washing machine and the dryer, they're like old appliances, like they must just be
guzzling
sucking
the gas.
your hydro. I'm
Hydro.
like, shit, you're right. That's it. We're not using any of that. I literally was like, I'll draw the line at like washing it by hand.
Down in the creek with the fucking wash. That's where we draw the line.
That's where I
we don't
drew
go
the
down to
line.
the creek and wash our laundry.
Yeah, I think I even
I
said
it.
that to someone, and they were like looking at me like, well, no shit, you're gonna wash 4 people's laundry by hand,
and all your cloth diapers
Yeah.
and wipes. Well,
sometimes you gotta
Louise.
do what you gotta do.
I love that. That's amazing. I loved this. This was so much fun. I'm so glad we ended on a cloth diaper rant, because that's hilarious. I love it. I love your stories. I love everything about it.
Thank you.
Is there anything you feel like you want to add for like anyone that feels like there's a big misconception about taking a different approach to momming than your typical mainstream stuff?
I would just say, like everyone is on their own path. It's none of your business, to be honest. Like everyone gets to make their own choices, and someone else's choices don't affect you or your life at all.
Nope.
In like 9 times out of 10. Like sometimes maybe they
There's
do.
always exceptions to the rule
Yeah.
for sure, but I totally know what you're saying.
Just let people live.
If you want to try something, try it.
Yeah.
If you don't want to try something, you don't fucking have to.
Yeah.
If you want to take something from this conversation, take it. If you're like,
Yeah.
that's cool, Emma, but like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Then that's fine too.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I've learned a lot. I'm excited to take this. I want to try some elderberry fucking syrup. I don't want my kid getting sick. This is great.
I swear by it. I swear.
I love
it
that.
kept us healthy all year. So
I believe it. I always end with a rapid mom questions. So MOM. So M is just, what would you say would be one of your most memorable moments as a mom so far? It can be funny, tear-jerking, silly, whatever you want.
I think that like now that my son is getting older, I've found him like I've caught him like singing along to songs.
Yeah.
And to me it blows my mind that like he can memorize lyrics and like sing a song. Like every time he does it, I'm like, oh my God, he was singing. And it's like the cutest thing in the world.
Oh my God, he probably has the cutest voice too.
He does.
Aww.
He does.
I love that.
Bias.
That's so sweet. Okay, that's cool. O would be like, what's something you had an opinion of before you became a mom that totally changed after you became a mom?
That I was always going to know what I was doing or like have like a certain degree of confidence.
Okay, yeah, 21-year-olds tend to think they know things. Fair enough.
Yeah. Like I figured that I would, have things pretty figured out, and I've completely let that go and just accepted it for what it is, as like an ever-changing, like ever-evolving experience.
Learning journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you always know you wanted to be a mom?
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause there's
For
definitely
sure.
a lot of women out there that are like, I was
For
meant
sure.
to do this.
Yeah. And I mean, even for myself, like on that note, like I wasn't expecting the moments where it hits you like how permanent it is. And
Holy
you're like,
fuck, I've had those.
holy, like
It's heavy.
It's super heavy, and it's like, wow, I kind of want my life back. Wow, you spiral. Like, I'm never going to do X, Y, Z again, or I'm going to have to do it in 20 years. Like, those moments I wasn't expecting. And I still always wanted to be a mom, and I still love being a mom. You shouldn't even have to say that, but like...
Yes, thank you. Oh my God. The second you have any kind of like not grateful, happy emotion, you feel like you have to also say, no, I do feel these things, but I also have another side of me that has other emotion. And it's so valid. Yeah. You so are allowed to.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the permanence of it.
Yeah.
Like, it comes in waves. Like, it just hits you sometimes where you're like,
I can't even poop in peace.
Yeah.
Door flings open.
Exactly.
Hey, Mom.
Exactly. Or like when you're relaxing, like, you're never really relaxed, and you're never off. Like, you can never just turn off and like,
not even when you're sleeping.
Cue out. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last M is, what is the most annoying thing each of your kids does right now?
Oh, my son talks in a baby voice when he, like, so his sister will be like saying something or trying to say something to me, and I'll be like dotting on her like, oh, like, so cute, okay.
Yeah.
And then he'll be like, mama. And I'm like, ew, you're almost 4. What are you doing right now? And I don't want to like be mean and like not give him the same, like, because like, why is it cute when she does it, but when he does it, I'm like, no.
That's gross. You're 4 years old. Stop.
I'm literally like, ew, it's kind of gross. Like, yeah, like, why? So that's his like annoying
That's funny
thing right now.
Yeah.
My daughter just throws like next level tantrums over like everything. Yeah. I was like blown away by how like dramatic, and like, I feel like it's just because she's a woman. Like, she has so much emotion in her, and she has no idea yet like what to do with it.
Yeah.
But
she'll just get triggered, and
she gets so triggered by like everything. Like, my son is he's pretty tolerant of the word no, and he's pretty accepting of like rules and boundaries, whereas like she is not. Like, even when I dropped them off at my mom's to come here, she had a toy and he took it from her, and she literally threw herself down on the ground kicking and screaming. It's like, get a grip, girl. Like,
it's not that serious. I'll get your toy back, bitch.
It blows my mind too, because she's always been like that, and it's not like I just give in and give her what she wants every time. I'm not permissive in the way, like, she does it if she is trying to cook on the hot stove and I move her to a safer area and she throws down in a fit. I'm not like, sure, come and burn yourself. Like, no, I'm like, sorry.
Deal with it, babe.
You're gonna have to wait. Like, I don't have the attention right now to help you on the stove. Like, sometimes she's allowed, but not if I'm busy with
supervised.
something else. Exactly. Like, it has to be super supervised.
Yeah.
And she'll
just in a tantrum phase.
Go on. She'll go on forever too. Like 20 minutes. I'm like,
are you not worn out yet? Like, hello?
Yeah. So that's something, like, my son has never thrown fits like that, period.
That sounds like a lot
in his life. So I'm still learning how to approach that and deal
like,
with it.
How do you, do you need to take a breath, or are you just like, whatever? Or do you get like, kind of like,
well, at first I'm pretty good about just being like,
cry it out, babe. Sorry.
Like, you're going to have to do what you need to do to get through whatever you're going through. And then, like, as it goes on, I do feel myself, like,
your blood pressure rising.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm getting less and less capable of just ignoring it or, like, letting it be.
Mm-hmm. I feel that.
And then sometimes I'm like, okay, that's enough. We are going to stop doing that now. Thank you. And still she'll just be like,
Off with you, Mom.
Bitch, you thought, and like keep going, and it's like,
okay, who are we gonna out stubborn here today?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
Exactly.
That's
But
hilarious.
we'll get there at some point. I'm hoping that this means that the older she gets, like she's
getting out of her system.
It gets out instead of like, the terrible twos. I don't want her to like
Get worse.
ramp it up, because I'm like, also like once you're a certain size, like you can't be throwing it down like that.
You're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah, you're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna hurt someone else, or like we're gonna be like out in public, and I'm not gonna be able to like carry you out. Yeah, like it's gonna.
And you're gonna have a newborn when she's hitting 2 years
exactly,
old.
Exactly. So I'm like, you need to get a handle on this, girl, because
wrap it up, put a bow on it, and throw it away. Thank you.
Exactly.
Well, that's amazing. Well, on that note, we're done. Thank you so much for coming and having this conversation. I think it was really cool. I think I learned a lot. I think other moms probably learned a lot too. And I think bottom line, just do whatever you want to do. Yeah. Whatever works for your family. Don't judge other people. Let it the fuck go.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for joining us, mamas. Talk to you soon. Mwah. Disclaimer. In no way do the conversations on this podcast replace the advice of health professionals. We are just speaking from our own experiences and what has worked for us. So speak to your midwives, OBs, or family doctors when necessary. When listening, always remember that every mom and every child is different, and what may work for one person might not work for another. There is no one way is the right way when it comes to parenting. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Mom Friends. Please like and subscribe to us so we can grow our beautiful motherhood community together. Talk soon. Mwah.